Good morning, students. Welcome to today's class. Today we will learn Chapter 2 Stoichiometry. At the end of today's class, you will be able to explain the rules for naming compounds. You will be able to write an equation for a reaction, and you will be able to balancing simple equations. First, let us learn the rules for naming a compound. If a compound is a metal and non-metal, then how can we write the name of a compound? If one element is metal and the other element is a non-metal of a compound, then the name of metal must come first. For example, sodium chloride. It is a compound in which sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal. So, sodium chloride should be written as NaCl. It should not be pronounced as chlorine sodium because the metal should comes first. So, sodium must be first in naming. So, sodium chloride. Hence, the symbol for sodium is Na and the symbol for chlorine is Cl. Thus, sodium chloride is written as NaCl. Similarly, magnesium oxide, where magnesium, the magnesium oxide is named as magnesium oxide rather than oxygen magnesium or oxide magnesium, because as per rule magnesium is a metal, so its name should come first, and oxygen is a non-metal, hence it comes the next. Thus magnesium oxide, the name arises. Next we will learn, if a compound is made up of two non-metals, then what the rule should be followed. If it is made of two non-metals, then if one of them is hydrogen, it will be named first, or the one with lower group member will be named first. Okay, so this is the rule should be followed while naming a compound if it is made of two non-metal elements. Okay, if it is hydrogen present in that compound, then hydrogen must be named first. And if the hydrogen is not present, rather than that, if two other non-metals are present, then the one with lower group member will be named first. For example, here hydrogen chloride is given. So HCl, that is hydrogen and chlorine. So here H is hydrogen, so it should come first. That is why it is named as hydrogen chloride, because chlorine is a non-metal and hydrogen is considered as metal also, because hydrogen forms H plus ions. Thus always hydrogen, when it is present, it should be named first. And see the second example, carbon dioxide, where carbon is also a non-metal and oxygen is also a non-metal. So when the two non-metal comes, then the member of lower group will be named first. So carbon is in lower group than oxygen, hence it should be named first. That is how carbon dioxide, the name came. Third one, if a compound is ionic compound, then what are the rules to be followed? First, write the name of the ionic compound, then write down the symbol for its ions, balance the ions until the positive and negative charges add up to 0. Write down the formula without charges. Example, lithium fluoride. The next topic is how to write an equation for reaction. There are few steps to be followed in writing an equation. These are the few steps to be followed. Step number 1, write the equation in words. Step number 2, now write its using symbol. This equation must be written in symbol form. Make sure all the formulae are correct. Step number 3, balance the equation. And last, step number 4, add the state symbol, which means it belongs to which states, that is solid state, liquid state or gaseous state. See an example. Calcium burns in chlorine to form calcium chloride, a solid state. Write an equation for the reaction. So using the 4 steps, we shall write the equation for this reaction. So calcium plus chlorine gives calcium chloride. That is step number 1. We have written in words. Step number 2, write the symbol for calcium, that is Ca, and for chlorine Cl2, because always it comes in a diatomic as a diatomic molecule. Then gives calcium chloride CaCl2. This is the symbol for the word equation. Step number 3, check the balance equation, whether the equation is balanced or not. Ca, that is calcium, 1 atom on the left hand side, that is in the reactant side, and 1 atom on the right hand side, that is product side. So both side 1 atoms present. So the calcium is balanced on both the side as an element as well as a molecule. Next is the chlorine, Cl, 2 atoms on the left hand side, that is reactant side, and 2 atoms on the right hand side, that is product side. So here chlorine also balanced, because both the side 2 atoms. Thus the equation is balanced. If it is not balanced, it should be balanced by changing the coefficient. That we shall see in the next following slides. So step number 4, at last, how the equation to be written. Ca, calcium, the state of the symbol, that is calcium in which state? Solid state, that is S is written in the bracket, plus Cl2, chlorine, which is in the gaseous state. So G is written in the bracket, gives calcium chloride, that is in a solid state. That is why S is written in the bracket. This is how a equation can be written from any given reaction. The last topic is balance this simple equation. How can we balance the given equation? Now look at the number of atoms on each side of this equation. 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. On the left hand side, that is on the reactant side, 4 hydrogen atoms. On the right hand side, that is on the product side, 4 hydrogen atoms. And on the left hand side, 2 oxygen atoms. On the right hand side, 2 oxygen atoms. So the number of each type of atoms is same on both sides of the arrow. This is because atoms do not disappear during a reaction. This is very important line. So when the reaction takes place, the atoms do not disappear during the reaction. They are just rearranged. That is why at the end of any reaction, the reactant side, the number of atoms in the reactant side must be equal to the product side. When the number of each type of atom is the same on both sides, the symbol equation is balanced. The simple equation is balanced. If it is not balanced, it is not correct. If the equation is not balanced, how can we balance the equation? So there are 4 steps to be followed to balance a simple equation. Let us see each step one by one. Step number 1, identify each element found in the equation. The number of atoms of each type of atom must be same on each side of the equation once it has been balanced. in step number 2, what is the net charge of each side of the equation? We have to calculate that. The net charge must be same on each side of the equation once it has been balanced. So every time we have to check this whether the equation is balanced or not on both the sides. Next is step number 3. If it is not balanced, change the coefficients. Coefficient means the number in front of the compound or molecule, so that the number of atoms of the elements is the same on each side of the equation. And please, you change only the coefficients, not the subscript of the formulas. Subscript means those are written after the symbol. Next is the step number 4. Once you have balanced one element, do the same thing with another element. Proceed until all elements have been balanced. So if all elements are balanced on both the sides, then the simple equation is said to be balanced. As a simple equation is given as an example, we need to balance the given simple equation. The equation is Na, that is sodium, plus Cl2 chlorine gives NaCl. Check the number of atoms. Na on the reactant side has 1 atom and Na on the product side is also 1. So they are balanced. Next, chlorine on the reactant side is 2 atoms and on the product side, that is on the right hand side, is 1 atom, which is not balanced. So we need to balance this equation. Hence, it is to be balanced by changing the coefficient on RHS, that is right hand side, the product side, by putting 2 in front. That is, coefficient means the number should come in the front of the compound or molecule. Thus, by putting 2 as a coefficient, the equation becomes Na plus Cl2 gives 2NaCl. Now we need to check again. Na in the reactant side is 1 atom. The Na in the product side becomes 2 atoms, which is not balanced. Now the chlorine, the number of atoms on the reactant side of chlorine is 2 and on the product side it is 2. So now the chlorine is balanced but sodium is not balanced. So we have to balance this again by changing the coefficient of sodium on LHS, that is left hand side, the reactant side, by putting 2. Then the equation becomes 2Na plus Cl2 gives 2NaCl. Now you check both the sides. Na on the reactant side is equal to 2 and Na on the product side is also equal to 2. Cl on the reactant side is equal to 2 and Cl on the product side also is equal to 2. Thus, the equation is completely balanced. This is how you balance any simple equations. These are all the practice questions given. Kindly please complete the practice questions. Write the answers in the class notebook, that is practice questions. Do the practice questions in your class notebook. Study well, stay safe and healthy. Thank you, my dear students.